welcome to our first episode of Journey Towards Health and Fitness. This is the first time we are having an interactive session with Herambi Gaitunde, and let's begin. Our first episode will focus on getting of answers to some of those questions which stand back at our mind. So Herambi, I welcome you to this episode.
Thank you, Shweta, and thank you, Taran, for creating such a beautiful platform which will facilitate exchange of information.
So Herambi, how do you define health?
Basically, World Health Organization has given the definition as it's a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not just merely absence of disease or infirmity.
Wow, it's very interesting to know that health is more than physical aspect. So how do we keep ourselves healthy?
In fact, the answer is very simple. To be healthy, you have to simply follow the nature. You have to watch your habits, watch your lifestyle, listen to your body, because before it shows up, it talks to you. You have to drink sufficient water, not very cold, preferably normal or warm water. You have to eat homemade food, which we have already learned during lockdown. It is better to avoid processed food, canned food, refrigerated foods, because our health always prefers something that is fresh. And most important, we have to check our lifestyles, and I would definitely give very high importance to focus also on your mind, emotions, and nourish them well, because they help you keep yourself more healthy.
Wow, it's interesting that we need to focus on nourishing our mind as well. This is getting more interesting, friends. So in this era of quick and instant, we do all sort of exercises. Is it good and sufficient enough for being healthy?
For our physical fitness, if we are able to do and if a physical condition allows, most of us prefer to do swimming, running, jumping, skipping. Some of us also walk a lot, and some nowadays go for gym. So all these definitely contribute to bringing in physical fitness. It improves your blood circulation, it develops your strength, and to some also it manages weight. And most importantly, you find those beautiful curves of your body, those packs, and that beautiful appearance comes out through exercise, which is also true.
Okay. So if exercise we can achieve fitness, how does yoga benefit?
I feel this is a very broad question and a very important question, Shweta. As mentioned earlier, exercise cannot be easily done by those people who are aged, or those people who have injuries deep inside their body, in joints, or those people who have issues with their health. But yoga is suitable to all and at all ages. What all you need is yourself and a will to do it. So since yoga involves postures, it involves your flexibility of the spine, it brings in muscular strength, and it also brings in that shape that you're looking for, but slow and continuous practice. So it corrects your breathing through various practices of breathing practices and pranayama. It cleanses your deep internal system through various kriyas like Jalaniti, Sutraniti, Vamanadhati, and it brings cleansing of your mind through meditation. Besides, due to its characteristic nature of impacting, of harmonizing, calming down of our mind and relaxing nature, you tend to alleviate pain. Your body starts to feel more glow on the skin, and you become more clean and clear. And due to its holistic influence, you reduce your risk to lifestyle disorders, and most importantly, the psychosomatic disorders such as diabetes, hypertension, arthritis, back pain that we commonly experience, PCOD, menstrual disorders, blood pressure, and so on.
So now that we know yoga and exercise both benefit us, is there any difference between yoga and exercise?
Basically, the entry point for a common man in yoga or physical exercise is physical movement. Hence, many times people think yoga is a form of exercise. Let us just understand a little bit deeper. When you do exercise, what do? Your focus is on using energy, burning calories. There is a focus on rapid, forceful, dynamic movements and repetitions. There is expectation for gaining cardio, respiratory fitness, muscular endurance, muscular strength, body composition, and fitness. You increase the muscle tension. Your goal is to achieve better physique, and in the whole process, you are stimulating. Your sympathetic nervous system is stimulated. Whereas in yoga, you see some differences. In yoga, your main focus is conservation of energy, which you will use in healing yourself and building your immunity. Sometimes you get slow results. That is because it focuses deep internally and it takes time for you to connect deeply inside to yourself, creating that harmony and balance at mental, physical, emotional, and your spiritual well-being. And you will see that there is a process, stimulation and relaxation, which is more focused than just focusing more on how much you can stimulate yourself. You will find that your mind comes down, your breathing rate comes down. Sometimes we say relax yourself, deeply relax yourself, so you relax your heart, and in the whole process you gain better stability. That's why yoga is a holistic system focusing on you as a whole.
Wow. So, who can do yogic practices?
Anybody can do yogic practices as long as they do not undergo very special health conditions where they need to consult with their doctors or yoga therapists for a right guidance.
Okay. So, when can one start practicing yoga? Is it what are the age group?
So yoga practices, people can start, or you can start at a very young age, right from being a kid, because that is the time you can infuse good habits and it builds strong and powerful concentration in the kids.
Okay. So, how much time should one dedicate for yoga?
Sometimes we say whatever available to you, something is better than nothing. So ideally you can do 45 minutes to 1 hour for practice, but if you find that you are struggling with time, minimum as low as 15 minutes also if you can dedicate every day, it achieves a lot.
So, are there any guidelines we have to follow prior doing yogic practices?
One should definitely keep in mind that when you think of practicing asanas or pranayama or meditation, it's preferable or it is always advisable to be on empty stomach. So your meals gap should be 2 to 2.5 hours to 3 hours, whereas when you are taking liquids, consider at least 30 minutes prior to starting of your session. And if you are suffering from injury, fever, if you have physical conditions such as pregnancy, and you're going under you have just gone through some surgery, so you may avoid yoga or check with your doctor or yoga therapist.
So, friends, that we have understood most of the key points in today's discussion. And if you still have more questions, do write us. Thank you, viewers, and thank you, Hirambi, for this lovely interactive session. The connection between us and you has just begun, and the journey continues. See you soon for the next live session.
So, friends, it's always said no yoga, no peace. No yoga, no peace. And now yoga, now peace.
Thank you.